Hello there. My name's David Allen. I'm a Master of Wine. I'm here in Bordeaux looking at the 2025 vintage En-Primeur wines. And currently I'm in Ludon, just south of Margaux, at Chateau La Lagune. And I'm tasting, as I say, an En-Primeur sample of their 2025. So La Lagune is an estate that's really changed course this year. The wine is predominantly Merlot. It's 50% of Merlot, with 49% of Cabernet Sauvignon and 9% of Petit Verdot. But what they've changed this year is the approach to the winemaking. They've gone from really quite a classical approach, trying to make a really classic, structured, claret-style wine, to something that's a bit more approachable. So the wine is getting what they call a cold soak beforehand. So the crushed grapes are left to soak before fermentation starts, and that gives a really gentle extraction of juicy fruit perfumes. So hopefully the wine's aromas will be much more approachable at a young age. And also in terms of the wine structure, they've cut down on the amount of new oak they'll be using. Previously it had been up at about 50%. It's coming down to about 25%, with a portion in stainless steel tanks and a portion in amphorae. So that will help the wine to smooth out during the aging process without necessarily layering tannins and spice notes on the wine. So let's have a look at it, shall we? First thing to say is there is a typically deep dark colour here. That said, it's not completely opaque. The wine has 14% alcohol. It's clearly got good density. It's creating tears on the side of the glass quite readily. But really, as I say, the important change here is the aromatics. So let's have a look at those, shall we? I think there's a very noticeable difference there. Previously, I've always found the wines of La Lagune quite sort of formal, quite reserved when you look at the aromas. Instead here, we've got a juicy expression of ripe, dark red through to black plum, really quite vibrantly. So certainly that's denoting a move to a more modern sort of style of wine. So let's have a taste. Classically for 2025, there really is a lovely freshness coming through here. There's some very fine tannins, but there's no astringency in them whatsoever. And this is very much the nature of the vintage, but we'll also be displaying some of the changes going on in the winemaking here. Having said that, actually, the terroir of La Lagune really is showing through. I think the 9% of Petit Verdot as well helps to give quite a good structure and a little bit of a bite to the tannins. It carries on through to the finish. There's almost a black fruit and graphite edge, sort of elderberry, that sort of really dense black fruit, but yet at the same time really lively. And the finish does last really well. So interesting to see the changes in the style of the wine being made, and yet at the same time really interesting to see how the soil and the environment shaping the wine has actually kept much of the character that was previously here in La Lagune. I think it's a shame that they've changed the style, because I think La Lagune really was becoming a really beautiful classic style of wine with some real generosity, but also real structure and ageability. I was very impressed by it. And yet at the same time, I can see why the producers would be looking to change things and to give that wonderful expression of what is beautiful fruit coming through there. So it will probably make the wine more accessible for consumers to drink earlier in its lifespan, and therefore make it much more approachable. So some interesting changes. Please let us know what you think in the comments box below. We'd love to hear your views. So thanks for watching. Do please feel free to press the like button. That would be fantastic. And I'm going to be in Bordeaux for the next week, trying to find all the most interesting, compelling, exciting, different wines to tell you about. So do consider subscribing, and perhaps we'll see you at one of the next tastings. Till then, bye for now.